The whole global financial system is breathing a little sigh of relief. This after Greece got a 4-month extension for its bailout, vowing to pass reforms. Part of those reforms call on a crackdown on tax evasion. Analysts say the government must collect up to $3.5 billion in taxes over the next few months. If that happens, Greece would be closer to getting rid of the austerity program. According to one politician, Greece fails to collect somewhere between $11 and $22 billion in taxes every single year. If they're successful in getting those taxes and roping in the tax dodgers, the government may collect up to $57 billion every year. But with a third of the country claiming they're self-employed, it's very hard to determine if they're underreporting their earnings. For more, I'm joined by Eric Lecompte, Executive Director, Jubilee USA Network. Good to see you. I guess not paying your taxes is really not a new thing. I mean, there are people who do it all over the world. In Greece in particular, we're talking about it because of the financial difficulties they're having. So that number that we just gave, what percentage of that is the population not paying taxes?
Well, in terms of the actual targets, we're looking at about 25% in terms of taxes that are being collected.
Should I be shocked? Should we be shocked?
Well, I mean, I think it's of great concern, and we have to understand that this is in part because of corruption, because tax authorities aren't equipped with the tools to properly collect taxes, and unfortunately, you know, in Greece right now, those taxes could make a real difference in terms of stopping some of the austerity programs.
The proposals in place to try to, I guess, either get them to pay taxes or to stop them from avoiding taxes, I'll put them in the same bucket. Will these proposals, and will they work?
Well, will they work is a big question. I mean, what they're looking at over the next few months, the next 4 months, is trying to collect an additional $3 billion to $3.4 billion. And right now, according to January estimates, just in January, they fell about $1 billion short of their targets. So the way that they're trying to move forward in the next few weeks is through a number of proposals. One of them is to crack down on tax evasion. So in Greece, there's a lot of contractors, there are employees that are underreporting their taxes. So they have to find some ways to be able to collect those taxes. They've also had problems with collecting consumption taxes. And that's a very significant problem, and they believe through the increased use of technology, they could be successful with collecting those taxes.
We've heard about the shadow economy, the dark economy. I guess that's the economy where there are no receipts. What is it? What's being transacted in this dark economy?
Well, when there are workers, when there are employees that are essentially getting paid cash, they're able to underreport. So that's a huge segment. But we also have to understand that the shadow economy also speaks to very wealthy people in Greece that are using more creative loopholes to evade their taxes.
So I'm not going to justify this, but Europe is a very big continent, and there are lots of other little countries who don't have this problem. So what is it about Greece or the Greece people or the Greek people? What makes them have this problem that seems to be unique to them?
Well, I think you're right in noting that throughout Europe there's a problem with tax evasion, and throughout Europe there's corporate tax evasion taking place, and you know, we know that there are even tax havens in Europe, like Switzerland, although that's changing. But the Swiss have done a lot to assist those who wish to evade their taxes. But in Greece, I think part of the issue is the debt crisis that they faced. And because of that, because they needed to get bailed out from that crisis, they had to undergo an austerity plan from the European Union, the European Central Bank, and the IMF.
So you're saying that caused people to pay even less taxes, actually?
Well, both, yeah. I mean, it caused certainly more attention to be paid to the problem, but we have to understand that the Greek crisis pushed nearly a third of the population below the poverty line. So, of course, the austerity programs have been a significant problem, because if you don't have money, you're going to pay less taxes.
I'm just going to think like a regular person who knows nothing about taxes. If I don't pay my taxes, or Dwayne doesn't pay his taxes, you know what happens? He goes to jail. What happens when you don't pay your taxes in Greece?
Well, I think that's part of of a big problem in Greece is they don't have penalties, they don't have enforcement, and what we've actually seen because of the austerity programs is the number of tax collectors have gone down.
So they don't have people even collecting the taxes, so it's kind of partly the government's fault too.
That's right, and in the past when they were collecting taxes, often there were significant issues of cronyism and corruption. But just to give you a breakdown, you know, in Germany right now, for every 730 people, there is one tax collector. But in Greece right now, every tax collector is about every 1,200 people. So you understand right there that there's a problem going on with the collection system.
They need more people knocking on doors. Now, okay, all that said, joking aside, this is a very serious issue because if they don't pay their taxes, the government can't get the revenue, which means they're stuck in this austerity program, and it's this awful cycle of more cuts and probably less people paying taxes. Do you see that turning around at least in the next year or two?
Well, I think there is some hope. We've seen since 2010 and 2012, and specifically in 2013, certain types of previous taxes have higher collection rates. So they've been able to go after tax evaders, and in 2013, from those who refused or evaded taxes in the past, they had about an 80% collection rate. So I think that there is hope. I mean, is there hope in the next 3 to 4 months when this breathing space is over? Yeah. It's hard to say if they could be successful. Yeah, I mean, look,
the truth is, it seems like it's something that's been happening for a long time, and people aren't going to change just like that. But I guess we'll wait and see and keep an open mind about it. Eric from Jubilee USA Network, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thank you, Phil.